Hi, and welcome back to Mistworld. This is now episode 6 of the main storyline, and our characters find themselves at the Magicine city of Hormus Scarlet, a place of black smoke, many forges, many much magic and sparks going along, and apparently a goat festival because I gave my players freedom, and that's what they gave me back. Um, they've all also leveled up. So I'm gonna after 3 days in town, while they're waiting for their main ship, the Hope and Grace to turn up, they each had an opportunity to either improve themselves or improve their gear in some way that would provide an extra trait. So I'll start with Astrakhan. Introduce yourself and your new ability.
Hey, I am Astrakhan Zell. I am an alchemist and golemancer. I'm the one with the spider bot called Darling. And my new trait is marksman because I've been practicing with the shiny beetle's guns. So that means that I can use the focus action and shoot the next round with any ranged weapon and get a success on a 3, 4, 5, or 6. So vastly improving my chances to hit things like random rocks that attack us or dragons or.
And that's huge.
People.
3, 4, 5, far out.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, basically doubles the success rate.
Huge.
Excellent. Henry, how about yourself?
Dearest Henry, the halfling, he is doing pretty well after taking care of Mr. Whitbear and not leaving his side no matter how much demanding. He ended up learning some first aid and took the healer ability. So as an action, I can try and heal people, and if I succeed, they get 2 hit points back. That's in battle. I can do it to everyone but myself. Henry's like a Tyrannosaurus Rex can't reach himself, but everyone else is within reaching range. It's fine. I can also heal poison, disease, physical ailments, that type of stuff.
Excellent. And just because I clarified this with you in chat, it's not something you can really do outside of combat, simply because otherwise you guys would just take a nano nap after every single fight, and there's no way I can whittle you down over time. So it's just for in combat.
That's it. Henry's been on 2 hit points for forever. Is there a do I heal back after a sleep, or is that a action?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I should be at 3
you heal back after each range.
Great.
Absolutely. Mr. Whitburn?
Well, while we're preparing for the goat festival, Mr. Whitber caught up with some of the other riggers, coming in from the other ships, and they held sort of a impromptu, archery competition, on the decks of one of the ships, and Mr. Whipper actually sort of won that competition, and from that he got a little magical device which he can put onto his crossbow. So what he's getting is the Master Archer, right? And so he has 2 new focus actions. One which does double damage essentially, and the other one, hail, makes his projectiles split in midair and attack multiple enemies.
Holy hell, that's great.
Awesome.
Only once per fight, that last one, though.
Yes, only once per day.
Excellent. And finally, Neely, what did you end up choosing for yourself again?
Yeah, hi, I'm Neely. I chose the Archmage trait, which is basically the current magical trait that I have, and Astrakhan also has, allow us to do minor magical feats, like little small bits and pieces, but I've basically expanded on that, and I've taken a specialty in diamond magic, which gives me basically some awesome ice and frost and storm magic powers.
He's as cold as ice.
I'm willing to sacrifice you.
Oh, yes. Oh, great! That's thanks.
and also just thinking about it, because you weren't using the kind of order skill, because it seems like it's got a high cost to mediocre reward. So from now on, when you give orders, you can now give orders to 2 people at once. So it's boosting. So instead of you giving up an action to help someone else have one action, you're giving up one of your actions to help 2 people, as long as they're kind of both doing the same thing.
Oh, I thank you, benevolent storyteller. That does
Okay,
sound
well,
good.
there's the good. Now, where's the bad coming up?
Does it clarify? Do I have to give them the
That is
same
the amount of
order?
goat poo that is all over the city. Yes.
And
More
every
lines of
one of you
attack.
has contracted
Um,
leprosy.
So the mechanic would still be the
no,
same,
so
Dan.
yeah,
I
so
still
it needs
have
to be
to
saying
roll
like,
for it.
yeah,
So go.
then they would automatically get that focus that Penny was saying that Astrakhan has. So
Mhm.
if you tell Astrakhan to shoot something, and they choose to do so, they're going to succeed in a 3, 4, 5, and 6 because that's how that'll work.
Okay, great.
And everyone else will succeed in a 4, 5, or 6. Oh, and Mr. Whitmer will do double damage if you tell him to shoot something.
Nice.
Awesome.
Right. So yes, goat poo. So 3 days, you guys have decided to enter the goat race. I have created some homebrew rules around this because nobody thought that players would want to do this except for you guys. So I've I quickly knocked together some homebrew rules. Well,
Let's be
you
clear.
guys
We
have gone
actually
out
wanted
and
to
chosen.
fight the goats.
No, I think racing
there'll
the
be
goats is
that
better
too.
than fighting
Yeah,
them.
racing the
Yeah,
goats
but
is
we
good.
did actually suggest a fight.
We
Well,
did both.
Actually,
trust me though, the losers will still get eaten because that was very clear on all your parts that needed to happen. So on that note, could you describe one of you, whoever wishes to, describe the goat that you've bought for your entry into the goat race?
Now, I think I'm not sure whether we spoke about it offline or during the session where we're going to dress Henry up as one of these goats.
No,
Now,
so
straight
I
up
mean,
no.
I'm sure there are goat costumes available for fans.
They're
like-
really bad.
They're probably really bad.
Yeah. I'll take the goat thing. Actually, can we roll for our goat and just say
I couldn't find a table for goats, but if you could find one,
no,
or
I'm going
just
to roll
describe
it
it?
with disadvantage, and on a scale of 1 to 6, with it being a really poor anemic goat or the strongest goat in the world, that's what we're going to deal with. So let's see what we got. A 4.
Yeah, go for
Okay,
it.
so it's a middling goat, slightly above average. It has only it's got one horn. The other horn fell off, but it looks pretty rough and rugged. It's done its time. It's been used for breeding 3 times in the past. It's on in its years, but it's a good goat. I think we should be fine.
It has a very floofy tail.
And what color is it?
Green. It is 100% green. It's got stripes of dark green through it, but it's definitely green goat.
Yeah, it's
Is
a
this
tabby.
what-
It's dark green tabby.
All right.
And it gives green milk as well when it's not racing.
Rilk.
Grill.
Oddly enough, you don't usually milk them, but Henry found a way.
I'm hoping that our goat is actually female.
Male. It is a male.
No.
But it's the male goats that give the milk in these particular green breed. Don't be gross,
No.
Henry, okay?
No.
Why are you guys making this weird?
I think Henry's missing some basic
providing milk.
some basic biology.
And
He
and
wipes
have
off a
you
green milk
named
mustache.
it?
I'll let someone else name it.
Your milk, your goat?
I have a suspicion that somebody
Anyone?
ripped Henry off when he was buying the goat.
All right, if I want to name it, if no one else is going to, its name's Pinky.
Keep the green goat.
Pinky.
That's it.
And it cost us
Pinky
3
the green
magic
goat.
beans.
This guy, I saw, he told me that if I buy it, it's going to win no matter what. I just have to make sure that I keep him green.
All right. So Pinky, green goat. Now you guys. So the way it works is, we decided Henry and Mr. Whitbear are going to be in like this little chariot. Think like a Romanesque chariot. Henry will be driving, and Mr. Whitbear will be riding shotgun with a literal paintball shotgun. What have you, Astrakhan? You're going to add some gadgets to the chariot, so I'll get you to describe what does this chariot look like that you guys will be using.
The chariot started out its life as a small cart, almost a wheelbarrow, and it's been heavily modified since then. So it still has 3 wheels, or rather, it now has 3 wheels. It's designed to be pulled by a single goat, have one person driving, so steering, and one person riding shotgun, presumably shooting wildly in any direction. So it's got a little kind of hood at the front to protect our goat from our own shots. And it's got a very small lip at the back, but it's mostly open so that the shots can go wildly around to anyone who's beside us or behind us. To shoot ahead of us, you'd have to actually rest whatever you're shooting in a notch on the goat shield. I'm going to call it a goat shield.
Good.
Other
and
than
naturally,
that,
Henry can use his shield bearer feat with this goat shield. So thanks, DM.
yes, totally. That was intentional.
Womp womp.
It's painted
But
bright
yes.
red, and it's got outward facing spikes on all its wheels to stop other carts from getting too close.
Excellent. And then Neely and Astrakhan, you guys are going to be offsite, basically using a stone of Sonic equivalent to talk with the racers, give them hints about what's coming up, and also activate any appropriate gadgets as they go along. You guys can invent them as you go, because I find that more fun than just saying that it's full of flares and oil gas traps or whatever.
While Astrakhan was fixing up the cart, I painted Pinky and the Pain across the side of it.
Oh my!
I can't stop you.
Good. I just wanted to make sure we didn't breach any copyright.
Is there a logo that comes with this as well, or is it just spray painted on?
No,
give me a minute.
It's spray painted on with Pinky and the Pain. What are we gonna do today, Pinky? Try to win the race. It's good.
Okay.
I think Henry might have made a cape for Pinky as well. Just embroidered it with his name across the back.
Please tell me the cape is not so long that it would entangle any wheels.
Like, don't worry about it. Like, it's a statement, okay? It needs to be made about how pretty he is with this cape.
Yeah, good.
So you guys set up at the racetrack. You've got your cape. You've got Mr. Whitbear at the back, ready to shoot guns, ready to shoot paintball pellets. The rules are of the shooting, Mr. Whitbear. So you've got 10 shots. So you've got 2 in the shotgun, plus another 8 on like a little bandolier thing stretched across your chest. If you manage to paint 3 of the other racers, they're disqualified. They get taken out. But if they manage to paint you 3 times, then you guys are out, effectively. There is going to be 6 segments to each lap, and there's going to be, at this point, 3 laps. We'll see how you guys go. If it ends up taking longer or shorter, we'll go from there. And basically, the rules are I'm going to be rolling to see if there's an obstruction at any point along the racetrack. If there is, you guys are going to need to roll to avoid it. If things go really badly for you, you might green out of control and crash and be out of the race. If things go well for you, then whatever obstruction it is might actually help you get the drop on your fellow racers. Are you guys all ready to go?
And yeah, 1 second. Let me just the cape stuck under the wheel. Let me untuck it.
I like pull out my machete and chop the cape slightly shorter.
Henry takes off the tattered of the cut off bit and wears it as a scarf. Together, we're together, Pinky.
I think it looks like a cravat.
It's a green cape as well, because you got to keep him green as per the rules.
So,
Excellent.
Mr. Storyteller Dan, what is our motivation for entering the race? What fabulous prize and or regard do we stand to win, and what will we lose should we fail to complete the race?
I feel like you guys entered the race and bought Pinky before realizing that he would be eaten if he lost.
Are you
He's playing for his
seriously
life.
eaten? Will Henry and Mr. Whipper also be eaten?
That depends on how badly they lose. No, but yes, there is a bit of prestige that comes with it. There is a feast held in all races on it, so just even joining in, you get access to this amazing event afterwards, and get to help out with some of the cream of the crop. And you will also get a small gold bounty. Not much, but it's a decent amount for what is effectively a race. The locals more are into it for the prestige. Like they get a little title and the free that you are racing against our locals. So you guys are kind of stumbled into this situation more than anything.
And I assume that the winner gets breeding rights for the goats. That is. So that's Pinky's motivation.
Thank you for clarifying.
Yes. No, it's I established that Pinky has bred 3 times, so he's a 3-time winner. So that's what happens here. He clearly hasn't been eaten 3 times, and if the losers all get eaten, he must have won a few rounds already. So I think we get a few advantages on our tests. Thanks. That's good. All right.
We'll see how you go. All right. So you're at the racetrack. You've got 3 other racers up against you. They're all kind of like looking down on you guys as kind of over your head, while they're kind of snickering and laughing at you.
I told you we should have built a bigger cart. They're looking
laughing
down
at us,
on us.
The smaller carts are lighter. They can go faster. Also, it's red, so it can go faster.
And really,
What are the rules?
They're looking, they're laughing because we're small.
That makes you fast. Otherwise, I would be in the cart. I'm like, Neely is having trouble with the fact that in this particular instance, they are not the pilots. So they're giving like very detailed and intense instructions to Henry rather rapidly, and sort of looking quite nervous. Dan, can you tell us what are the rules? Could I, for example, cast any spells on the cart? Would that be against the rules?
It is a little bit. So gadgets are allowed. If you can find a way when I describe an obstruction for your magic to help, I'll allow it instead of you kind of giving advice, if you want to flavor it that way.
Yeah.
But it's so that you will have the ability to influence the outcome when an obstruction comes your way, when it comes in a racer's way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it will need to be subtle, because otherwise it might be seen as cheating.
Okay.
All right. So you guys are at the start. There's a sleeve dressed as a goat with like a white flag, and they're kind of holding up, down, and you guys are off. I'm gonna roll to see if you have an obstruction right off the bat.
We're riding along. I hope you were ready, Mr. Whitber. Ah!
Hey guys, guess what? There's an obstruction right off the bat.
No way!
Oh no!
Someone ran over the goat with the flag.
So what happens is basically your cape has unraveled a little bit, and it's tried to take off. You kind of get yanked back as this piece of yarn dangling from your torn cape gets caught in the wheels. Astrakhan and Neely, you can provide advice or a gadget or some magic that will help this situation. Otherwise, he's going to roll to stay in the result.
Can I cut it off? Or is this only them that can?
It's only them that can provide help. You're kind of you haven't even noticed that this is happening.
You're too busy with the
you're
paint
looking the other
gun,
way.
yeah.
Can I toss them a gadget yet, or do I have to wait for them to come back round?
The cart's already loaded with gadgets. It's more you can activate one that you describe at the moment that will help.
Well, they could wait. The string is stuck behind them.
It's wrapping around
like
the wheel as we
wheel.
go.
Oh, wrapping around the wheel. That's
so you kind of see it. It's about to like choke. It's about to choke him out if you don't find a way off.
Well,
So
I mean,
have,
I did
detachable wheels. You could have.
I did make them a little flamethrower, which was initially intended for offensive use against opponents or obstacles, but they could probably just set the string on fire so that it would turn to ash before it choked the wheel.
Yeah, and perhaps rather than offering advice,
Excellent.
I will just ice up the axle so that the effect of the flame doesn't damage the cart in any way. So just cool it down. Stop.
All right. So Henry, that means you get 2d6 to do that, to get to take off.
All right, let's roll those 2d6. Go.
I believe
A 5 and a 3.
All right, so you're off. So you make it through the next one.
I love it.
Do you have erasers?
Go, Pinky, go!
Only one of them catches up to you. The other two are staying behind.
Nice. This is why Pinky's our man. All right.
Yeah, so two of them kind of slip and slide off the start. All right, next round.
I mean, does Mr. Whitby get to take a shot on him? Or is that random?
If he wants to.
Yeah. I see this guy rearing up to us, and I'm going to definitely try and take a shot at them.
All right, give me a 2d6.
No quarter, man. 2d6. I got a 1 and a 5.
Cool. So you paint him once. You
Yep.
need to hit him 3 times from the up.
Amazing.
All right, Henry, give me another 2d6 to move on out of this segment.
Let's do it, kids. A 1 and a 2. No, Pinky.
No!
Oh no!
So unfortunately, you catch a patch of I feel like olive oil at this point, and slip and slide, and don't make it past the second segment of the race. The guy that you pelted with paint, he stays in the same square as well. One of the others catches up, so there's now 3 of you in the same segment, but one of the others is still kind of squealing about and is unable to move. Next round.
Great.
No obstruction. Are you going to take another shot?
Yeah, I want to keep shooting at the same guy. This time I missed though.
Yep. Lucky, roll to get out of here. 2d6.
Nearly, he keeps missing. What does he do? No, critical. 2 6s.
Nice. So you zoom ahead to you're halfway through on the first lap.
Are we able to provide advice just once a lap, or can I provide advice on other segments?
For flavor you can, but it won't have an effect.
Okay. So I'm just like, Mr. Whipper, instead of shooting for where he used to be, you should shoot for where he's headed to. It's basic physics, Mr. Whipper.
Just getting real tempted to like throw the stone into the field.
Or soon there'll be a paintball on my head.
You could try and pick her on the way past, but it is one of the shots.
I'm a baker, not a marksman, goddammit.
So so the guy that you shot once has lagged behind is now a new guy sharing the same space as you. The other two are kind of racing to catch up. It's like a kind of Monaco place. It's going through the town streets, and just every now and then there's people who walk out without realizing that the race has started. No obstruction for this round, though. So could you give me 2d6 as you try and move onward?
Let's do it. A 6 and a 3.
Cool. So you're just over halfway now. Oh, sorry, I'm drawing an MS Paint this whole scenario. Before you do that, Miss Whitman, did you want to take another shot? This guy has a bit of paint on him.
Yep, I will.
All right.
I get 1 hit on them. So 5 and a 3.
Cool. All right.
Nice.
These two are gonna. He lags behind, like your shot splatters across his visor, and he doesn't manage to catch up to you. The other two are still floundering, so you guys are in the lead by a decent section of track at the moment.
Nice shoot it, Mr. Whitper. I told you Pinky was a good one. What are you saying, Neely?
I just go Pinky.
Yeah, Pinky. Proud of him.
Go Pinky.
It's a girl.
Another
It's a girl,
test.
Henry. I tell you.
You keep
All right.
saying that, but I swear.
There's a minor obstruction on the cat as a small cat jumps out in front of your goat. What that does is it drops your dice down from a 2d6 to 1d6 as you try and avoid hitting this animal.
So would that be counted as disadvantage, or is it just a straight drop?
It's just a straight drop.
Okay.
Because otherwise halflings
I'm well aware as what halflings get. I'm trying to maneuver my way to get it. All right, a single dice. A 5.
You make it. So
You hit the
you
cat
expertly
straight over.
take two. Yes. As a person who's not fond of cats, I'm okay with that.
Neither's Pinky, apparently.
Mr.
Whitman, Henry tries to steer out of the way, and the goat just keeps going through.
This is why it's great to have a one-horned goat, because Pinky can just kind of put her head down and toss the cat out of the way without worrying about getting it stuck on the horns.
I know he could do that, but he didn't. He chose to use his only horn and impact. No, that's fine.
Dessert for later, you know. Goat's the main course, and then anything else that gets run over on the track is entrees and dessert.
I'm going to quickly disavow this conversation.
All right, how are our teammates going?
So rivals, the fourth racer has caught up. So this is the one that you haven't taken a shot at all. He's just behind you. He's in a different section of track. But you guys are just about to complete your first lap and re-get all of the dice that's reactive. Roll 2d6 to continue.
Let's go. A 3 and a 4. No love.
No love. You are stuck grinding your gears. The guy
slowed
behind
down
you
to check on the
catches
cat.
up. So basically, the fourth racer is caught up to you. He's now in the same square. The other two. Number 3 is just behind you. But 2 is still lagging behind.
Who's caught up with us, sorry?
Number 4. So you haven't taken a shot at this one yet.
Okay.
They're so intent on catching up with you guys that they're not shooting at each other. They're more just putting all their effort into not letting these outsiders take the championship. That they're kind of almost working together to make sure they take you guys out. You can take a shot if you like, Mr. Whitman.
I will. Yes. And I miss with the 2 and a 4.
All right. Are you tracking your ammo?
I've got 6 left.
All right. Excellent. All right. Lockie, could you give me your racing roll as you zoom forward?
Oh, we don't zoom forward. A 3 and a 2.
Oh.
I swear, at this point, Henry's gotten out of the cart and he's run over to check on the cat and make sure it's all right.
I feel like more like you're doing donuts. Like, is it okay? Is it okay? Are you sure it's
okay? Look back around.
Donuts around this poor cat. The fourth one's going to try and get in front of you. Makes it. So you guys lose your lead as racer number 4 goes ahead. 2 and 3. 2's like almost out of the race at this point, but 3 catches up to you guys.
Oh god, no. All right. Focus, Henry. Let's do this. And ready to roll?
1 second.
No.
Well, maybe the cat's mate jumps out onto the track as you're doing donuts around it. You lose another dice to try and get out of here. But roll 1d6. Mr. Whitbeard, did you want to take another shot at number 3?
That's the one that's caught up with us, not the one that's passed.
Yeah, so there's one that's zoomed past you guys. It's out of range, but there's
number
not
3
one that you took a shot at
we've
before.
Been attacking already, yeah.
Yeah, I would, yes.
Go for it.
1 and a 6.
Nice.
Cool. So if you hit him one more time, that one is out of the race.
Yep.
All right. Let's roll my disadvantage with a 4.
No dice.
I'm trying to avoid the other cat. I'm
One dice.
extremely careful. So it's I'm just like, all right, steady, Pinky, steady. Dodge the cat. We don't want any trouble, Mr. Tom. And then we'll try doing that.
I feel like the others have gotten like lost in pathways. They're not able to advance either, except for number 2 that's starting to come around the corner. But 3 stays in the same square as you, and 4 stays 1 square ahead of you.
Nice.
All right.
Take him out, Mr. Whipper?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to try and take him out.
Yep, roll to take out number 1 and number 3.
6 and a 2.
Nice.
Yes!
So you take out the third racer with a shot of paint gun. They kind of look up at you and are like speaking some weird language to both at each other and then at you, and then one of them shoves the other and they start getting to a full-on brawl right in front of you as they blame each other for why they lost. Mr. Henry, did you want to try and see if you can get out of this situation?
All right, normal test.
Normal test. I believe in you.
A 1 and a 6.
Nice.
Henry turns around, looks back at their goat, and thinks, later. And then, yeah! And then kicks off Pinky, knowing that, he could be the meal if he doesn't catch up with 4. What's more important?
How many laps do we have? 3?
You're just about to finish your first one.
Oh, we're just about to finish our first one, and we have 2 more.
Yep. 2 manages to stay on your tail, a bit out of range, but 4 manages to get ahead of you and cross that first lap inches before you do.
Nice.
Roll for obstruction. No obstructions. Roll 2d6 to cross the line for the first lap.
2 3s. Unsuccessful.
Unsuccessful. The good news is that once you cross that line, you nearly can start giving positive advice. No. 2 is right next to you. You've shot at them before, but they catch up to you. They were like almost out of race a second ago. They've really pulled it together. 4 has got a distinct lead. You can't see them anymore, but you hear their goats bleating as they navigate the turns and corners.
All right.
All right. Good news. So another obstruction falls in front of you, but it turns out to be a ramp that gives you a shotgun. Gives you like a little advantage. So this time you get to roll 3d6.
Watch me roll 3 ones. All right, let's do it. Let's go complete the first lap.
Sometimes benefits.
A 1, a 2, and a 6. We're good, kids. Go, Pinky, go!
So you launch yourselves through the air and come down on the other side of the line for the first lap.
Nice.
You gadgets recharge and nearly you can now give us again as this happens.
So how many carts are in front of ours?
There's 1 in front and there's 1 that has yet to cross the finishing line. But the one in front is like 2 squares ahead. It's got a distinct
2 squares ahead. Okay, so I think they're coming up just after the lap point. There's a really sharp turn. So in like the most encouraging voice that Neely can use, they explain really briefly to Henry that if he oversteers at just the right time and kind of slams on the brakes, he'll be able to get the whole cart to move sideways and control it around the corner, drifting. I think with goats it's called like, I don't know, grifting, and should be able to control it and get a bit of a boost coming out of the corner.
It works like the, you know how goats can climb on anything that's not 90 degrees. And so if we tilt the goats enough as we hit the corner, they can get that.
Exactly.
Start
And
running
because
along
of
the wall.
Pinky's missing horn is on the side, like in the corner. So we'll actually be able to tilt quite far.
Good. That's our advantage.
I have a funny out physics that's going into ridiculousness.
Don't forget the smoke bombs.
3d6.
3d6.
Later, I'm sure.
A 5, a 3, and a 1.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Nice. So
You've got this, good barrel.
Coat drift or coat bend, I don't know, and better shoot to. You're still behind, racing the ball, but you've closed a fair amount of that distance.
So is 4
where
still
it's,
at the same distance?
4, still 1 square ahead of you guys. He doesn't get to move forward, which is fortunate.
Oh, awesome.
Number 2 is also left behind and still doesn't finish there.
Great.
Checking
Alrighty.
there's no obstructions. You got to try and catch up 4.
So no obstructions?
No obstructions. Go for it.
All right. Just normal test. A 6 and a 2.
Nice. So you catch up to number 4. Miss Whitbeard, did you want to take a shot?
Time to take a shot.
At number 4, yes.
Yep, they're sparkling clean.
6 and a 2.
Yeah.
Connect. They are going to return fire because A, you guys caught up to them, and B, you just shot at them. They miss, and they do not maintain their lead and stay at your level. Number 2 finally.
Do they successfully hit us or not?
No, they miss and they manage to get forward. So
I think what happened is that
2 lots of 2d6. They don't win.
Pinky's cape got in the way of their shotgun pellets, and just so Pinky's cape has the paint on it, and it just flutters into the air as it goes away. I knew it would come in handy. All right, next test.
Next test. Let me roll for instructions first. No, you guys are lucky. All clear.
Alrighty. Let's do it. A 6 and a 4.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Getting there now.
You take back your lead.
Go, Pinky, go!
Mr. Whitbeard, did you want to take another shot before you zoom past?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Let's take them out of the race.
6 and a 1.
Yes.
Cool. You connect. So they are 1 shot away from being splattered.
I love it.
Oops.
How many bullets we got left?
They take a shot at you as you go past. You guys also get blooded once, but
No!
they do not keep up with you and behind.
Being shot is our only weakness.
To really
Also
it's
cats.
paint. And cats. Who's also like falling behind. They're like half lap behind you guys at this point. They're just what's happening. They ran into some barrels and are moving away.
Right, we'll catch up with them.
No obstructions. You can do.
All right, let's do it. 2 4s, no love.
Sorry. 4 and 2 both managed to zoom and catch up.
Damn it.
4 is now right next to you, but 2 is still a few away.
But 4 is in range now.
Right. It's in range, Mr. Whitby. You can take your shot.
Yeah.
Finish him.
No, missed this time.
Damn it.
Misses. Yep. No obstructions, Lucky. You can take your shot. You can take a roll.
Let's do it. Oh, God. Critical fail. 2 1s.
All right, I'm going to use that to give them take another shot at you.
Oh, God,
They
no.
succeed.
Oh, God, no.
You're painted twice.
That's so bad.
But the good news is they also critically fail their driving tests. So I'm going to say both your critical fails.
I think our wheels
Wipe each
interlock.
other out effectively, and you just
We both
That's a
just
good one.
pull
Yeah,
over
you guys
and
are
go and
able
hit
to
each
lock.
other with the paintball guns.
I like the idea that we've managed to hook it so that we have hooked the wheels so that we're constantly going in circles. And so, we've got this centrifugal force that both of us are spinning and holding on. We're shooting at each other and it's just not working. Like, let's get on.
Number 2 is right behind you now, though.
Oh, God, no. All right. Excellent.
And yeah, no, that's it. All right. Obstruction. -3 dice. So
-3 dice.
there is a chance. Yes. So basically the rules I've decided were, if you guys basically end up with either negative or no dice, you roll 2d6, but if you fail, you add a race entirely.
Oh, cool.
So,
All right. Could I try and do something to give us advantage or like improve our position?
Yeah, Astrakhan hasn't done anything yet this session, this lap. Is there any gadgets that can help us?
I'll allow that a gadget can help. We'll add to the 2d6 that you'd otherwise roll not fail if they could describe how a gadget helps you get out of this death spiral you're currently stuck in with number 4.
So you guys have hooked your wheels
Astrakhan,
together.
Mhm.
Yeah, you can hear me, right? I'm not
Yep.
muted?
Mhm.
Yep, cool. You've got your wheels hooked together and you're trying to get unhooked.
Yes.
All right. I mean, I was keen for you to use the smoke bombs this lap because that would have just given you such a boost to get ahead. But I'm thinking you've got a rocket boost that was aimed at if you had like a cart in your way that you had to jump over, you could give Pinky a little boost to just jump over something. But if you aim it sideways a bit, it could get you another kind of grift sideways, detangle your wheels, and also kind of shove you forward a bit so that you don't lose too much momentum. I reckon that's your best shot because the next best thing after that is the magnetic pellets. And I might have to be there for that one.
All right. All right. I think it's our only chance. Mr. Whipper, you take the wheel. I'm going to climb out onto Pinky.
No.
Use the rocket booster. Use the rocket booster. Do not use the goat.
Well, if I could ask as well, if you could roll 3d6, but do it one at a time, because I want to see if the last dice is the one that saves you.
All right. Here we go. First dice. A 4. No love there. Second dice.
Dice.
3. No love there.
Oh no.
Oh God, come on, Pinky. You gotta survive. You gotta breathe.
You can do
man.
this. You can do this, Henry.
A 4.
Oh.
Oh,
Damn.
Pinky.
So what happens? The cards are shatter?
The good news is that when you employ this rock booster gig up front, you take number 4 with you because they also failed their roll. You basically have this kind of spin, this firework. I can't remember what it's called, but you look almost like a UFO with notes attached on the sides for a second as you spinning and flying before crashing off the track. Number 2, the goat that was so far behind does as that Australian speed skated and just straight forward and takes the wind.
All right.
Fortunately, Pinky is on the barbecue meal today.
It cuts to later, and Henry's crying while eating a kebab. He was so good, and he's still so good.
I can't believe you would let someone else cook your goat.
I just couldn't bear looking him in the face as he rotated.
Oh.
On the plus side, when the rockets exploded, they half cooked him already.
You guys bring up tears.
Yeah, so Nearly gives Henry like a little reassuring squeeze on the shoulder as he like weeps into his goat. But there's like something in the look on Nearly's face that says quite clearly that if Nearly had been driving the car, they would not be eating Pinky right now.
You want some of Pinky? Something to remember him by? You'll probably forget it in about, 6 hours, depending on how fast you digest.
Yeah, Nearly is feeling quite vegetarian tonight.
It's okay. He was green. gotta eat the greens, man.
Yeah.
So Henry finishes up his kebab, goes back to the shiny beetle, and puts up a little container of green milk on its shelf that says Pinky on it, and salutes it before going and curling up in the corner and crying.
Oh. What did the rest get? So there's enormous banquet. People are cheering the winners behind number two, called the Scorpion team. The Goats, this is their first time winning. It was a bit of an underdog. How they performed initially. What are you guys doing, if anything?
Eating delicious goat kebabs
Yeah.
until we are almost making ourselves ill with overeating.
Goat curry. I love goat curry.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I have sought out the cat that was on the track, and I'm trying to I think it's street
Cat dessert. Yeah.
No,
Okay.
no. I'm
Cat
feeling
tapas.
like most ships that I've ever worked on have had a ship's cat, and I think that a fitting tribute for Pinky would be to get this raceway friend of his and entice them back to the shiny beetle.
With Pinky as treats.
No.
To get them
No.
on board.
You lay out these little bits of meat that was Pinky.
So maybe that's the approach you take, Mr. Whipper, which probably works quite well.
Both working to get the cat in a different manner.
Yeah, I'm calling.
I'm making a little breadcrumb thing of Pinky to get the cat on board. And you're doing whatever nonsense you're doing.
Yeah, I'm just talking to it, and I'm sure that my sensible words are what is luring the cat back to the beetle.
You get back to the beetle. Henry's there, hugging the still remaining horn of Pinky and crying in the corner.
And the cat immediately runs to you because you're holding so much meat and curls up and spoons with you.
I really should have cleaned the meat off the horn before I took it. My bed smells so bad. There's so much juice.
Gross. The cat sleeps in your bed from then on.
Where's Darling? I need her to wash my sheets again.
Hey, Darling is not a washing machine.
I know, but she does such a good job of it. Henry picks the remaining meat on the horn. He's still so good. He was the best boy.
He was a girl.
If you clean that properly, you can turn it into a drinking horn.
Forever shall your flavor be tasted by my lips.
Okay, Henry, you need to calm down now.
Yeah, it's past my bedtime.
Yeah. I while Henry's sobbing and making friends with the cat, I go into town and I stick up the usual kind of flyer with the logo of my ship, the Amphitrite, and directions to where I can be found. Enigmatically.
Nice. It's beautiful.
Just we would like to go down to sort of the he'll go drinking down the docks, I guess, and see if any old friends from other airships have come in or anything like that, and see sort of what news is on the cloud tops, I guess.
I imagine they'd be giving you shit for your race today. Oh, we saw you out there. How's last place?
Didn't get last place. I got one of them.
No, you guys
killed one of them.
You got equal second. Effectively. I pray that you guys got equal second.
Yeah, equal second still means you're a loser.
The first loser.
The first loser, and there was two of you to make it even, or washed out. First loser.
And Esther, what are you up to? Given that you
I
notice Susie the best of everyone.
I mean, we had we had 3 days to wait until the Hope and Grace was getting here.
Mhm.
And in the meantime, there's not really anything that we need to do. So unless Henry actually wanted that tour after all, I know he was too tired on our first day. I'm probably just going to wander around town and refamiliarize myself with some of my old haunts, see if the jeweler that I apprenticed to is there. And if he is, go and have a cup of mint tea with him and gossip about what's been going on in Hornus. What's this town's name again? Hornuscally?
Honestly.
Hornuscally.
Mhm.
Yep.
Assuming that, if you do ask Henry, he'll totally take the tour. Any distraction from the memories of Pinky would be fantastic.
Yeah,
But,
I'll take
yeah.
Henry with me on a tour. In fact, I'll take Henry with me to meet the jeweler that I was apprenticed with and introduce him to mint tea, which is a specialty of Hornuscally, along with the goats. It's like goat mint tea. The mint tea is probably less upsetting for Henry at this point.
The mint leaves are green.
Now, did you come up with a name for your former boss?
I hadn't as yet, but I can probably come up with one on the fly if you need me to.
That's okay. I've
Mr.
got one.
Bossman.
So their name is Vincis, Vyncis. Um, and they're absolutely like they're still in the same old spot. Nothing's changed since you quit working for them, as they're still in the same old spot. The mint tea is in the exact same tin. Despite the fact it's been quite a few years since you've left their employ, and nothing really has changed except for that they're wearing a purple robe instead of a red one, maybe. Like it's very kind of stepping back in time for you as you join Vinkers for tea.
Wow, this is nostalgic.
Mint tea, they prepare it. It's I feel like maybe it's the way that you don't like it, but it's the way they've done it always, and so they've just never been able to change it. Um, and they're really excited to see you. They're asking about your adventures. They're sharing sort of things they've had. Basically, the goss that they are sharing with you is the same goss it would have been, problematic customers, somebody wanting something that done yesterday that would have taken 3 days to do. You get the impression they're a bit bored, but at the same time, like this is the routine that they signed up for, and this is the routine that you chose to leave, and why you took up Golomancy instead.
Yep. I mean, I will show them what I've done with Darling, which they probably are not at all interested in, but will make interested noises out of politeness.
Oh, absolutely. Like they've never understood your fascination with things that move and with things aren't that don't have a aesthetic purpose, effectively. Like, sure, it's functional, but is it nice? Is there kind of a worldview on these kind of creatures?
Henry hangs on every word, only interrupting.
Henry, while you're there as well,
he only interrupts to ask if he can get some extra sugar for his peppermint tea.
Which is already half sugar.
Yeah,
yeah, it's just not sweet enough. So sorry, my cavities aren't hurting.
As you kind of ask for more sugar, they say, "Oh, I can see you're special. You like the sweet things here," and they kind of reach down and they get like this little like a test tube, and they put some very amber looking honey, very thick, down. They measure it like an exact teaspoonful and drop it in. It's just that extra nudge of sugar that you needed.
It's so good. You've got to give me the recipe.
No recipe. It's just the local bees. I have a hive out back, and you can kind of see this like little flower garden and a kind of odd looking hive.
You're so lucky. I keep asking Neely if I could have
start going.
beehive on the ship, and she keeps saying no. You're so lucky. Can I see them?
Ooh,
Henry runs out there without a
yeah,
bee mask.
come on out. They show you. Well, to be fair, it's not super necessary to have one of those masks, but they do show you this kind of mechanism they have where they like turn a handle and the hive kind of cracks a little bit and honey comes dripping out of a spout and they grab another small test tube and fill that up and give it you as a welcome gift, given how much you enjoyed it. And then they twist the knob again and the hive kind of collapses back into the same QB shape that it was before. The bees were completely undisturbed by this action. They seem quite used to it.
Wow, it's so functional and beautiful. Astrakhan, have you seen this? It's both functional and beautiful.
I'm right next to you, Henry. I'm literally right here.
Sorry, the fumes from the honey has made me a little blurred.
You're on his left side instead of his right.
Yeah. I mean, I could probably build us one of these. If you can convince Neely to let us have some bees, we can put one like on
on the wing.
We can build an enclosure for it on the shiny beetle and just close it while we're flying and open it up when we stop for the evening.
Once she tastes this honey, she'll have to accept. Be ready to build that beehive.
Yeah, back on the ship, Neely just like shivers for a moment and then shrugs it off and keeps patting the cat.
What are you going to name the cat?
Pinky 2.
Okay.
Or Mr. Meow Meow.
Mr. Miyagi.
Sounds stressful.
I'm looking up if it is possible to do mobile beekeeping as you guys are talking about those creatures.
It might be
And
possible,
apparently
but
the
it
answer
will not
is
be
yes.
allowed on my ship. It will not be allowed on my ship.
You won't even need to look it up.
So we just have to hide it, like
I like.
You mean hive it?
distract Neely while it's being built, and then once we're in the air and it's deployed, it's already there, man.
We've got this big plan where I make a little outfit for the cat, Mr. Miyagi, and make him dance around in it while it's actually just him trying to shake off the little mittens he's wearing. And then Neely's looking unimpressed. Just move the bees in. She's standing right next to the door, walking up the ramp with a beehive.
I mean, we could totally do that. I probably need to build the hive first, but then we can.
No, it's okay. I've got this handful of bees. I'll just throw them in the ship.
I'm pretty sure that's not how that works.
I stole the queen. It's fine.
I'm sorry, Vinkus. He gets overstimulated sometimes.
It's too much sugar. All right. After we have this crazy flashback,
We'll flash forward, I think.
No, it's a flashback. It's happened. It's a canon now. No, a flash forward where Henry's hallucinating from this excellent bee honey. Let's do something actually productive to this session.
Right. Well, I was going to say that Mr. Whitbear, as these guys are having apparently hallucinogenic honey, I did not intend for it to be, but there was self-speaking point. Miss Whitbear, you see a very welcome sight start to move dock at the port, and that is the Hope and Grace itself, your home, your base of operations, and frankly, all your friends and are there as well. What do you do when you see the ship dock? Do you run and get the others? Do you just run up yourself and let them work it out?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Going to as I see the ship coming in, I'm gonna go on the docks and stand on some nearby boxes there, and then just start harassing all of the riggers that I can see is just doing their job. But calling out every tiny little fault and little problem that I can see, and obviously they've just let themselves go since Mr. Whitber's been off the ship, and once he gets back on board, he's gonna show them what's what and start calling out, so and so's weird new shoes that he's obviously got in some other port or something like that. Any opportunity to start
Yeah.
like nagging at people. That's exactly what he's doing.
You call this a half hitch? My grandma can type better than this, and she's dead.
Rich. As you do this, some of the senior staff come out and start talking to you as well. So the captain comes out, gives you a bear hug, thanks you so much for your service and retrieving the ballista. Do you have the bag of holding for you? You could have retrieved it from the inn if you wanted to.
No, Mr. Whipper doesn't have carry that around. It's probably stashed somewhere on the ship.
Probably.
If the captain's here, obviously going to go really quickly stop harassing everyone. Straighten up his untidy uniform and yeah, Captain, the Tiny Beetle's just docked down the way, and Neely's there at the moment on guard, and the other two have gone to town. Want to inspect the ship, sir?
Well, actually, before we do that, I've got a little something for you, if you don't mind following me to my quarters, to my office.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So as he heads down to his office, as we've mentioned before, the head of operations is a giant spider who leaves webs everywhere. He kind of like reaches across one of those webs and like does a little half a dozen taps on it. And when you reach his office, Kika, the spider, is there with a young gobbler side. And to you, it looks like Helen, which was Danny's character back in the one shot that we ran.
You remember
she's even wearing
your tiny cousin with the big
old...
eyes.
the very sweet cousin with the big eyes. They're even the old version of the apron that has your face next to your brother's, and you can if you look closely, you can kind of see there's like been a patch that for you, namely a dragon that covers you on the posters, but it's like fallen off over time and over age. And kind of this kid runs up and goes, "Uncle, oh, I believe it's you. You're such a big hero."
Mr. Whipper just like drops to his knees in shock at seeing them, and is completely speechless, and eyes start tearing up, and almost like starts hyperventilating type thing with everything just occurring at once.
They introduce themselves. Their name is Zusha. They're actually Kellen's daughter. You realize that they're just wearing like an old apron that they had back when. They don't know the full details of what happened in terms of you getting blown out the window, but certainly Kellen, their mum, was always kind of aware of the fact that you wouldn't have done that deliberately. There must have been some kind of accident, but because they were a kid at the time, nobody believed them. But she's been telling her kids and all her side of the family about how you must have been hurt and that they should be looking for you, even when people initially that you died. And it turns out you didn't get a chance to look at them at the time. But Kellen was one of those goblins way back in session 1 who tried to rush on board the Open Grace, but was stopped and arrested.
Wow. We killed them.
But the kid is like so happy to see evidence to go back to their family, but you're the first family they've seen in forever. And despite the fact that they didn't previously know, they've heard all these stories from their mum and are just in raptures over you.
Mr. Whitby just doesn't know what to do. Is I guess, sort of being helped to a chair nearby and suddenly feeling like all 50, 60 years of his age type thing, all at once.
Mm.
Um,
See,
and yeah, he doesn't know what to do at this point. He spent his whole life running away from the bakery and those and his family. He just didn't expect them to show up. Yeah, and didn't expect them to understand.
seeing your reaction, the captain kind of taps Keyquab on the shoulder and goes, "Oh, maybe we should leave these two to get acquainted." Keyquab, being a giant spider, does not recognize human emotion and understand the gravity of the situation. So the captain kind of just puts his hand on his shoulder and says, "I'll send up some tea and some snacks, and you've got my office for as long. Like, I just thought you'd appreciate some privacy at first." And he leaves, and so enough. Tea and some chocolate biscuits, you reckon as being from the captain's special stash, are delivered. And if you'd like, you can interact more for the show. We can move on and just let the characters have a moment.
Um, yeah, what are they doing here? Mr. Whitman's so confused.
Kellen, Kellen was so adept that you weren't at fault and was kind of um, and shouldn't be ostracized, shouldn't be effectively deleted from Bakery's history. She was eventually pushed out of the capital, and they set up their own bakery back in the first town. But when they got stuck, when they were getting supplies and were getting desperate, they started trying to move closer back, and just didn't have the money to do so. Um, so this little
And pause for edit. Is anyone else
Yeah.
here?
I disconnected again.
You did. Your line is somewhat choppy.
Yeah, it's been breaking up pretty bad.
Oh, all right. I'll leave it as it is. Yes, so to start over, so this little rascal snuck on board the Hope and Grace during that very first battle. So while you guys were all distracted with the mechanical carriage, some of you had a chance to try and spot her climbing on board. None of you did. And since then, they were just hiding in all the barrels and stuff like that, trying to avoid giant spider webs that Kikkwab had been trying to set for them. But they're only discovered, they're so good at hiding, they're only just discovered in the past few days. And when the captain and Kikkwab realized their connection to yourself, they've been looking after her, they kept her on board, so you can have this meeting with your family.
Aww.
Wow.
So
Yeah, Mr. Whitmer is just gonna, I guess, take the time there, and basically catch up on 60 years or 50 years of missing life.
If you've ever been around a 5-year-old, they fill the entire time with their words if you let them. So, and this happened, and my mom did this, and this happened, and we tried some chocolate cakes, and we also I made a flower. I got you a flower. I put up your flower yesterday. Here it is. I heard you. I will see you, and they give you this flower that's like been dead on the floor for the past however long. It's sweet as can be. I'm going to forward everyone else for a moment because the leadership are going to have a meeting. I have put a link in our Discord chat to a rule book. You guys are going to have a chance very quickly to discuss amongst yourselves what is the Hope and Grace going to look like as it charges into battle against the dragon. So take off your masks as Neely, Astrakhan, Miss Whitber, and Henry. You are going to take back on the roles of Pequab, Alice McFoundry, Ethan Hawke. God, I forgot that name. Alice McFoundry, Ethan Hawke, Keyqueb, and who am I missing?
Shauna.
And Shauna. And you guys can have a look at the book, decide what defenses, what senses they're going to have. I'm just going to remind our listeners we're basically retrofitting a mecha versus monster book into this rule set. So if we start talking about swarm missiles, but describe it as being like a launch of crossbow bolts, it's just because we're trying to make things even. Have you guys got that link? Got that sheet?
Yes.
Yep, got it open.
I think while we're here, though,
So
Alistair
first...
McFlandry is going to chime in. I'm glad we've called this meeting. As we've been recently well aware, the Mr. Whitber has got some relative who's been the stowaway. I think it's only fair that we deduct her living expenses out of his wages. So if there's no opposing, I shall organize that with payroll immediately.
Alistair,
Yes?
I told you when you brought this up before, you need to make a separate meeting to deal with the expenses and the stowaway. We are talking about the armament of the Hope and Grace.
Yes, I think they're both related. I mean, if we're arming it with weight and we'll need to compensate and pay for funds, it's only fair that someone has to compensate to add to these funds. Do you not see?
We've had
Jack
this
Club
conversation.
I still think we should have. I could have wrapped them up and still wouldn't have to worry about feeding them. Just slept it out.
Yes, I mean, we could have made like the goats here. She was a loser who got caught, and we just happened to add her to the meal list. Problem solved. I mean, of course I might be joking, but I mean, no one's opposed, are they? We'll come back to this. What are we saying about retrofitting this device?
Shauna's from engineering.
At this point, the captain...
Shauna has many detailed sketches of like engineering schematics of many different ideas of what could be done.
Yeah.
Is still sitting on the opposite side of the room from
Keyqueb.
What's the what?
So there's a plan at the moment for the dragons to how they're going to trap them and kill them. Now you've got the ballista. They've called over another one of the Oracle class airships. This one's known as the Cisco. It's going to meet up with you guys tomorrow. And basically the plan...
Club hates this because Club's wife is on that ship.
Fair enough. So the ship's got to come. And the intent is you're going to find an exit to the dragons. You're going to send the shining bolt to draw the dragon out for a particular exit, because dragons do not just one entrance to their land, they have multiple. When the first dragon was flying, the two Oracle class airships will basically make a wall that will force the dragon to move up, expose the belly as it flies up past the Hope and Grace, which they'll then shoot one of the ballistic speed directly inside of it.
Now, I noticed there's long-range scanners. I think that's something that might be useful to us, is being able to detect and find the dragon is probably going to be useful. Particularly if it manages to dive down into the nests.
So just a point of all for that, though. Your airship is considered a Titan class, so which means it only gets one sensor. So you can pick that one, but and it means that you've got like extra tower to scout for anything coming towards you. But if there's another sensor that might be better, then that's up to you.
I mean, the only other one that stood out to me was the holographic emitters, where we can create a secondary lookalike. That's useful, but I think the long-range scanner is probably going to be more useful if we're trying to shoot a ballista at it into the mist. So I'd much rather have an idea of where it is in the mist than, a fence over defense is my thought on that one. Anyone else?
Up to you guys.
Yes, I believe this town is chock full of inventors and all sorts of things. I'm sure they have some someone with some skill of creating lenses, and they could create some telescopes that could look very far away.
All right, I like it. So if we choose for our sensor, if we choose the long range scanner, I think that's pretty good. How many defense systems do we get?
So you get one sensor system, so your one will be the long range gun. So you get weapon, 3 defense, and 1 movement, but one of your 3 weapon slots will be taken by the ballista.
So you say 3 weapon systems?
But one of them will be taken up by the ballista.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, great.
So you have 2.
Cool. And the weapons and defense and movement. Okay, cool. All right. Has anyone seen anything under defense or movement that they like?
That's a funny thing, yeah.
Would you like some suggestions to start the conversation?
Yeah, sorry, I'm not like.
I mean, I really liked under the defense, there was the cloaking. I thought that was kind of cool. Hide where we are.
Yeah, I think if we can avoid grappling a dragon, so Shauna's just, I think it's all about offense, avoiding. If it gets to the point where we're relying on shields, then we're probably already in trouble.
How much fuel do we have?
You
4?
can spend a movement system to increase that, though.
Well, it's responsive thrusters is a good way to dodge, but it takes 1 fuel to do it. Now, if we've only got 4, then that's not amazing.
Well, if you're wanting to evade, you want to pick up the evasive servos.
I think that's probably our best.
If you try and dodge, it only D6.
So let's do evasive servos. I think that's a good one, unless anyone thinks otherwise. I also don't mind mining shields, where we, drop a whole bunch of what's it called, mines in the air on balloons or something similar. Is that how that works? If you're attacked, it makes
no. Basically, so like how your lightning weapon, you can take 2 attacks in 1 turn. That's what that's doing. So,
Cool.
The rock as well will do 3 claw attacks at once. So if more than one of those connected, it would have done more than 1 damage. So this would reduce that. So it's assuming that whatever you're fighting is going to be able to do multiple attacks.
Yeah. But it reduces the total damage by 1 on. After all rolls by 1, okay. So it just reduces damage by 1. That's the passive ability under defense.
It may be better instead to have. If you want that, I'd probably suggest armor plating over there, since that just reduces all damage by 1.
Yeah, I was just looking at the armor plating. That would make sense, I think.
But it only work against melee attacks, not ranged.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Armor plating.
So I mean, if that's the case, then do you want to go multi-phase shield as our 3rd one? So we've got the melee attack with the armor plating, the multi-phase shield with the ranged, and then the evasion when we need it. Does that sound?
Responsive thrusters.
Actually, I really like there's repair drones as well, which would be, I think, is kind of cool with Astrakhan having
refuel though.
Here. Yeah, that's
1 use.
1 use to.
Dan, did you say we can sacrifice the system to get more? Sorry, did you say that you could sacrifice some a system in order to get more fuel? Does that give us more shots and other things as well?
It will. So one of the movement systems is more fuel. You get 1 movement system though. So you can spend that to double your fuel from 4 to 8.
I mean, that's not too bad if we're spending fuel when we can to heal ourselves. I'm quite okay with that.
Yeah, I felt in the fight with the rock, the biggest limitation was the fuel. It really was frustrating.
Yeah. So let's do it. Let's use our movement for the fuel after our experience. If you're okay with that, team.
Yep, that sounds like a good idea.
All right.
We're still talking about the hope and grace, right?
This is about
Yes.
the Hope and Grace. You can make changes to the Shining Beetle as well, but we're just talking about the Hope and Grace at the moment.
Yeah, so I kind of missed the comment before because there were a couple of people talking at once, but someone was talking about something being useful because Astrakhan could do something. Like Astrakhan will be on the shiny beetle, not the Hope and Grace. So just
So if you choose to, if you like pull in really close to the Hope and Grace, you can shoot Darling over there to spend your fuel to repair the Hope and Grace.
There's an option there called repair drones. And it says robots can
Right.
assist the repair action, spend 3 fuel, restore 2 structure to either your mecha or an adjacent mecha. So you can heal the Hope and
Right.
Grace with the repair drones. But if Dan's saying that Darling can do that without us spending fuel, is that the idea? Or is it still going to cost 3
basically
fuel?
you've got the repair drone. It's Darling effectively.
So we have that
Um,
passively, is that right?
Yeah,
You've already
we've
got
got
it
that on the beetle.
on the
Great.
Shining Beetle.
Great.
Yes.
I love it. Okay.
I'll just put a link to the Shining Beetles page in the Discord chat so you guys can see what that has as well.
Okay. What about reinforced materials? So it increases our HP essentially by 4 for the entire system. So we can take more hits.
Sure.
Yeah. Any thoughts on that for under defense reinforced materials?
Yeah, I think that's not a bad strategy.
So that would give our 3 defense systems would be evasive servos, which means we, can dodge. We have the armor plating, which allows us to avoid any light or melee attack against us. Although we were talking about what was the third one? The phase shield was the other option. So either more health or phase shield, which is reduce all ranged attacks by 1. So would you prefer to have more health or more ability to take damage?
Thank you. I think makes sense.
What's that?
I think it makes sense to just reduce all damage by 1.
Okay, cool. All right, so that's our 3. We've got range defense, melee defense, and the ability to dodge.
And then we have 2 more weapons.
Yes. Now, is Dragon Killer, is that
That's the ballista.
that's the ballista? Is that right?
Yeah.
Great.
Yep. So that's taking up one of your weapon slots. Yes.
Yes. Cool. And then we get our 2 extra.
So just ignore any melee ones because that's just not going to be a thing. But
That's a shame.
Because you're not going to punch because the Hope and Grace isn't going to punch a dragon.
We can build an arm onto it.
Yeah. What about rams, man? Come on. You got a ram on the front of the ship.
I think that would give us a lot of flavor.
Okay.
You can. I'd say there's a kinetic drill saw, which could be at the ship ramming, if you wanted to be.
What about electro fists? And we just
But
say
I'll also
that
remind you,
if we take electro fists and we just say that it creates an arc of lightning from the ship in a short range burst.
Or it's
the question is,
literally
how does
people
that then
boarding the
throw
dragon.
the dragon? Because that's what you'd be doing.
Well, we've had situations where creatures have grappled us, and I would much rather be able to get them off grappling us. That's the concern for me.
I mean, I'd say that would be just more. You'd have people with crossbows trying to stop that, like on the deck. This is more against like you defending yourselves against something flying. I mean, if you want a melee weapon, I'd suggest either the kinetic drill saw in terms of you guys ramming something, or the big glowy sword that's in there, which would just be like you basically putting a giant sword on the front of the Hope and Grace to ram stuff with.
I do like that.
Yeah.
The Hope and Grace becoming a giant swordfish.
Yeah. Can we carve it into some really brutal shape? Be so cool.
A giant middle finger.
Go for it.
Yeah. I was thinking something slightly more classy.
So the hope and
goat horn.
grace. So so it's a giant goat horn. I would prefer that over the middle finger.
Okay, cool. All right. So
I'm just going to take a moment to remind you guys
Mhm.
that you spent one of your movement thing to add extra fuel, but so far I've picked no parts that require fuel. So all the fuel and nothing to spend it on at this point.
Okay.
well, I
Maybe we
mean,
don't need
So
fuel.
what weapons have we actually picked?
the
So
dragon.
you've got so you got the
The
you got
ballista.
ballista. You've got a big glowy sword to help you ram stuff if you want to, and you can pick up one more.
I don't mind the rocket pods.
I was just looking at those. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's what's the word? Yeah, you get to do it and we lose hit, but I mean it's 2d3 damage. It's pretty good, and we do spend
Sure.
fuel to do it.
So you perform up to 2d3 proficient light range attacks. If more than 3 attacks hit, spend 1d3 fuel. Sure, so that could be up to 6 attacks, and you only have to spend fuel if half of them hit.
Yes. How much damage is that though?
Well, it'll be one each.
Just one damage
So you
for
could
each
you
one.
could potentially deal up to so it could potentially deal up to 6 damage.
I mean, if that's the case,
Um,
then I think would we not just go to the charge cannon, which does 6 damage and it spends 2 fuel. It might be better if it depending on how much health the boss has. If we ended up,
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
because I mean,
that's the big cannon you guys have on the Shining Beetle. So if you want
Yes,
to chuck
but
it on
having
the
that-
Hope and Grace as well, go for it.
yeah, so I have one as well as, I mean, that's pretty useful. It depends on how long the battle is going to go for. If we think it's a long battle, then the rocket pods are better. If we think it's a short battle, then the charge cannon's better. Who wants to place bets on how many rounds it'll take?
I'd say go with
A
your
lot.
gut, but the captain is opting for a short battle. Like he's expecting basically the dragon to fly up and get shot and killed
And we just
immediately.
lay into it with everything we got.
So this is him being cautious. So he's absolutely. We're going to force the dragon to fly up. We're going to force it to expose its underbelly when it does so, and we're going to give it everything we have as it's up and past us.
Being it's a
The
heavy
drag
ranged
parts of other
attack,
misty badges.
who has abilities with heavy ranged versus light ranged out of us?
It'll just be members of the crew, so there'll be just people running around operating this.
Okay, so it won't be us. We'll be on the shiny beetle.
No, you'll be on the Shining Beetle. Your distraction, and
Alright.
if things go poorly, you're going to be running interference.
Okay.
So just another point to bear in mind, the charge cannon, you can't take any other actions on that turn. And it's either hit for 6 damage or you miss completely.
Mm.
If you use something like the
Pods?
the rocket pods or swarm missiles, then it's multiple attack tests. So you can hit even if you don't hit for the full value. If we roll really well, one attack for 6 damage is great. But if we roll really badly, it means we don't do any damage. And that means the dragon kills us.
I mean, it would be fun to be killed by a dragon, but probably not what the story really wants.
I love how suicidal you guys are. You haven't even seen the bloody thing.
It's a dragon.
I mean, this thing's been taking down these ships left and right. We got to be ready.
Yeah, I think that's a persuasive argument. I forget your character's name when you're in the
Ethan Hawke.
Ethan Hawke.
I love that name so much. Ethan, you mount a persuasive argument. Yeah, I think I'm anti-charge cannon at this point.
Cool. So swarm missiles.
Yeah,
All right.
Swarm missiles
So
or
do
the
you
rocket
want to?
pods?
rocket pods is good.
Rocket pods,
I
I think.
prefer rocket pods as well,
Yeah,
just the way
likewise.
that they do damage. And that also gives us some use with the fuel. How much fuel does the Hope and Grace have by default?
So
Or
4, you've
Eight.
doubled that to 8 with your movement
Yeah,
thing,
so I was just
but
making
you
sure
can
there wasn't.
change your movement thing if you want to.
I think if we've only got 4, then it's going to be wise. So I'll keep the fuel, and
Mhm.
we will take the rocket pods, I think.
Cool. So just to go over everything that you guys have chosen. So you've chosen long-range scanners. Just a reminder, the dragon can't survive the mist either. It cannot fly down and hide in there
Really?
any more
Okay,
than you
then.
guys can.
Oh, that's useful.
Mm.
Even so, I think for flavor reasons, having the long range scanner is just
Yeah.
makes sense. I mean, we're going in blind, so I think it's just wise for us to have that as a like an ability to find the dragon is huge.
If a dragon is coming for your ship, you want to have as much warning of that fact as possible.
No worries. Cool. And then so you've chosen evasive servos. So you guys take the evade action during the fight. You'll test 2d6 to avoid getting hurt afterwards. And then if you do get hurt, no matter what, you're going to take 1 less damage. So if dragon or anything else that has the equivalent of that swarm missiles thing where it does 1 damage per hit, won't matter. It won't hurt them, basically. It won't hurt you guys. You've increased your fuel by 4, so when you use your rocket pods, you've got the chance to do that several times, assuming the dice are in your favor. And you've also got a giant hammy sword at the front in the shape of a giant goat horn.
I love it.
That somehow you guys agreed on this. Well, I guess maybe it's a specialty of the town, given it a goat city, that they had one of these at the front.
It was a special commission. The moment Pinky went down, I went and commissioned it, knowing that the Hope and the Grace would arrive soon.
I like the idea that there was one goat that was big enough. Like there's just a singular goat that was so big that this was its horn. Like, what are we gonna do with this? We'll sell it to some idiots.
No. I'm going to give you this. It wasn't a goat. It was some kind of flying narwhal that was recently caught by some hunters.
A barwhal?
After they harvested all the narwhal milk, they just used the horn.
I'm so glad that I'm going to have a chance to kill you during the dragon fight. Just going to point that out.
Not before we milk the dragon.
That you people have come up with.
Can't wait for some of that drill.
You're not milking my big bad.
That's what you say now.
We just team up entirely to figure out a way to milk the dragon.
Maybe that's
suction
why.
cups onto Darling.
Maybe the dragon's just cranky because it needs milking.
It has mastitis.
Yeah.
So, did I link the Discord chat of the Shining Beetles stats? So if you guys want to have a quick look and make any changes as well, you're welcome to swap out any bits. You should be able to see it. It's just on one note.
Great.
In the battle, Dan, is it going to be like Star Wars style? We have the shiny beetle and the Hope and Grace, and the shiny beetle flies around doing like X-wing type stuff, or is it just one big ship?
There's a small vent on the back of the dragon.
It's good. You guys. The milk comes out. Oh, I'm falling into it too. I'm so mad I said that. I'm so mad I said that.
No, never.
No take backsies.
Well, that's before we fire the shot. Then we're hoping for some take backsies.
All right, I'll just put a screenshot in
Great.
the Discord chat of all the systems on the Shining Beetle. So if you guys want to make any changes, so like the jamming array was like smoke bomb that you guys did. The charge cannon was was the big hit that you guys could do versus the automatic cannon. Feel free to change any of them. The repair drone is dialing around, duct taping everything. Evasive servos is just like you got dragonfly agility that lets you better able to dodge stuff, things like that.
I quite like that system. I mean, there is nothing in there that I wouldn't want.
Yeah.
There's still that flaw with the charge cannon of it's the all or nothing.
But we do have the automatic cannon as a backup.
Yeah, good call.
Yeah, no, I'm
Besides,
happy with that.
having the giant Tesla coil for the charge cannon is just cool.
Yeah. Can't
Actually,
go
you know
wrong
what?
with a Tesla coil.
I'm gonna give you guys a third weapon system.
In that case,
Yeah.
I want that melee item to be able to get it off the ship if we get grappled. After our attack with the rock, that was the thing that really stuffed us up time and time again, where it grappled us. So,
all right,
could I swing for that electric punch thing to try and knock it off? Whether we can send a charge around the outside of the ship and just shock it.
Sure. So I'll say to this, like, it's more like two destructive, like big metal balls, kind of, they use swing at buildings and stuff. That you can use those, and if they both hit, if they both connect, it's enough to like throw something away, knock something right back.
Okay, great.
So
you can add electro fists onto that. I mean, assuming you guys are okay with that, I didn't want to just take charge, but I think that was the big struggle we had against the rock.
No,
Yeah.
I think that seems fair.
Dwayne Johnson grabbed onto us and just held tight.
Yeah.
I mean, the other one could be if you get the EMP mines, that you choose one system. I would say that you could use that to disrupt their claws or other attacks.
Yeah.
I mean, that has the benefit that it's flexible. We can use it for melee or ranged.
Melee. Yeah, precision light range. Okay, yeah, no, that's good. Let's do that.
All right, so basically it's like giant Tesla balls that you just like taser balls, basically, that you launch it at, and you can launch it, roll it along the floor, or you can slam it into them, or you can just like set them to float past you.
Yeah, leave them in space while we beat a hasty retreat. In the air.
That's good.
But this
That's
is on the
EMP
Open Grace,
mines.
not on your ship.
Yeah, no, it'd be fine.
But this is on the Hope and Grace, right?
This is on the Hope and Grace, yeah.
And
this is on the
Beetle as is?
What? This is on the Shiny Beetle, isn't it?
Oh, no, I said on the Hope and Grace,
Oh,
rather
next
than
one
the
on the
ballista
Hope and Grace.
technical weapon
next
slot,
one on
I'm
the Hope
giving
and
you
Grace.
the third one back.
Okay,
Yeah.
Good.
So you've got the EMP mines on the Hope and Grace.
Cool. Great.
All right. So so the rest of you guys, as the meeting ends, the rest of you see the Hope and Grace and dock, and I presume all of you come back on board. Miss Whipper is still meeting with his, I think, great niece. Is that the relationship? Grand niece? Henry, just off the bat, was there anybody that you'd be particularly keen to see on board the Hope and Grace?
I think other than telling the captain all the brave things he did when he gets the chance, but not really. I don't think Henry was well liked on the ship beforehand. I mean, the reason he's on this ship is because they wanted to get rid of him. So I don't think he was particularly close with anyone. But I think he will, address the captain at some point and try to say, look at the great job I did because you selected me. That type of thing. And I didn't let you down.
Excellent. Well,
Can
and you
Neely
really, and he kind
fly?
of he nods. He nods. He kind of claps you to the shoulder. He roots through something in his quarters, and he comes up with this like badge it's kind of fancy now that it could be a medal, or it could be, or just or maybe it's just something fancy that he liked and he's willing to let go. But he kind of pins it on your chest and says, "This is for all your bravery and for looking after my valued crew members. You'll consider yourself one of my honorary crew members for as long as you choose to be with us."
I love it. Is it one of those plastic child sheriff badges?
Oh no, it's proper like metal pin with like a proper back and stuff. Um,
Henry
but
wipes away a tear.
yes, maybe it's
Salutes
got
the
like
captain.
Can Nearly fly the
Ellie,
shiny
do you
beetle
have anyone you
down?
want to go see?
Can Nearly fly the shiny beetle down in a spectacular way and land it in some kind of, Millennium Falcon style fancy on the deck kind of maneuver? And then as like Nearly carries little Mr. Miyagi, who's asleep, down from the shiny beetle to show him his new home. I think that they shed a little tear because there was something really nice about being on the smaller ship. But then quickly goes to the helm of the Hope and Grace to see what all the other terrible pilots have been doing to mess with their ship.
Yeah, absolutely. So no need for a roll. You really did a Millennium Falcon-esque, loop, turn, land, the Shining Beetle. As you come aboard come back to the helm though, everyone's really happy to see you. Like everyone's like, "Oh, great!" and kind of giving you a clap as you return to your customary position. One of the settings is, I'm going to let you decide. Like, is it the thermostat? Is it the thing has been slightly altered in some way? What is it?
Yeah, they've changed the angle of the steering console just to sort of tilt it back for a taller person. And it's fiddly. It's hard. It's old. It gets a bit rusted in place, so it's quite hard to adjust back. I have to give it a bit of a kick, and I don't think I ever quite get it right again.
Fair enough.
But because this is my home more than my cabin, I think that I quickly get Henry to crochet like a little baskety thing to hang from the side of the steering console where Mr. Miyagi can sleep during the day.
I'd be more than happy to. I'll knit that up in a jiff.
He runs back to his old cabin and finds that Alistair's reassigned it to someone else, and all his stuff's been just kind of shoved outside the cabin door. Oh, I guess I'll find a spot for myself somewhere else. Yeah, all right, and he'll just take a spot in the hallway and then start weaving up this cat basket.
As you do that, the captain sends someone to take you to your new quarters, a little more spacious than what you had, and they've got two windows, not one.
Oh, this janitor's closet's much nicer.
And Astrakhan, where do you go at your first return back to the ship, if anywhere?
I've got a little bolt hole that I'd cleared out for myself somewhere down in the hold in a corner next to the lockers where I used to go and tinker on Darling. So I'm going to go and check if that's still there, and if people have put stuff in it, clear it out again.
Were there any snacks in this area, in this little bolt hole that you
No
found?
snacks, but I did leave a sort of a passive camera that was just taking a picture once or twice a day to see what was going on in the hold.
So you find all this like trash, like food trash, like apple cores, orange peel, stuff like that, everywhere in your little bowl. And as you check that little camera, you see this unknown little goblin girl every now and then taking up residence as they're like hiding from key queb from the giant spider and like eating snacks in this little bolt hole they found, looking around for more food, not finding anything, not finding your camera, and just running out again every now and then.
What does the boat hole look like?
It basically looks, it's where there used to be four of the lockers. I've taken the walls between the lockers out. So it's like a cupboard that you can shut yourself into. And
It's a good boat hole.
are you all right?
I'm just wondering whether I'll fit in the boat
Bolt
hole.
hole.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Bolt.
Bolt hole. Yeah, you would fit into it, Henry, if you first cleared the trash out of it.
Yeah, it's a bit tight at first, but once you're
Yeah.
in,
Once you're in, it's pretty comfy.
I bet it is.
You're a terrible person.
Good.
Yeah. Anyway, I think the little goblin kid looks super cute, but I've got no idea who they are. So I'm going to go see if I can hunt down Mr. Whitbert to see if he knows them, because obviously he will know all the goblins on board the Hope and Grace.
That's a bit racist.
We so ride that line of interracial discrimination. I'm expecting phone calls and angry letters. So
That's
you
for the
find
fans to
Mr.
decide.
Whitber. Maybe the next day. Maybe the next day you find Mr. Whitber and he's got like a little, not like a porta pot, but like a little kind of bed in the corner of his room. He's got his own room, and you see this little goblin girl asleep in there.
I was right. He does know her. Hey, Mr. Whitber, how you doing? I see you've got a friend staying with you.
Yeah, this is my niece.
You
Looks like but you have massive eyes.
she you might need to feed her more, because she's been sitting in my my garage locker downstairs and really not eating nearly enough for like anybody.
Yeah, she told me that she overheard that the spider wanted to wrap her up for storage later.
Darling would never do that, even if Darling was...
no, Kekwab.
Oh.
You know how they are with stowaways.
Yeah, that he totally would. Yeah.
So she was trying not to fatten herself up.
That's fair, actually. Wow. We might need to have a talk with the captain about traumatizing passengers and crew. And
well, I did see Kekwab when I got it back on board before, and you know how they are. They just didn't understand. Wasn't a paying customer, so free range apparently.
Yeah. That's pretty terrible, actually. Are you all right, kid?
They look up at you with massive eyes. Like, I just thought it was going to catch me. I didn't think it was going to eat me.
Oh,
I thought
yeah.
it was going to throw me off the ship.
Honestly, that might have been worse with the mist, but maybe don't think about it. I'm sorry I brought it up. I'm just gonna go now. This is super awkward. Bye, Mr. Whitber. Nice meeting you, Mr. Whitber's niece.
Bye. Is this little tear well up as you walk away? Abject fear.
So I totally made that better. Oops.
So, a couple of days pass. on the ship, your former boss comes back, Vinkus, and he's one of the people working on the extra enhancements, the extra enchantments on the ship that you guys came up with. So they help as well. Astrakhan to kind of work your magic, not just the magic science, but also with the enchantment as well. If there's a part that you would have a particular interest in, it's fine. But overall, you're part of that kind of overhaul crew. Nearly, I imagine that you're stopping up and down, making sure everything's to absolute spec. Along with Whitber. Henry, what are you doing at this point?
Yeah, he's been
the
setting up
next few
his new
days?
room and keeps offering to be assisting and then gets sent away to
Mhm.
not be in their way. And then I think he'll try and occasionally find his way back to the, shiny beetle and see if, he can rustle up some squilk or engage in honey and just kind of pass out from the noxious fumes that it is and have a daydream about how life was before when he was special and now he's back here and he's not special anymore. And that's how Henry's going to pass his next few days until he can prove that he's special by killing a dragon and drinking its
Beautiful.
milk.
Now,
That's
the other-
blood, Henry. That's not milk.
It's red. That's all. It's just red milk.
Well, I guess we've got our answer. How are we going to milk the dragon? Using knives.
That's so bitter.
Gross. I think we need electrofists to milk a dragon.
Shocking.
So, after a while, too, the Cisco, the second Oracle class airship, turns up. Quick Crab's X is apparently among their crew.
Kekrab's
It's a
mate,
ship that you
and
guys are kind of familiar with.
after they mate, they traditionally the female traditionally eats the male, but Kekrab managed to escape onto this ship, and so
Okay.
all of the webs are just constantly thrumming in terror across the ship.
Are there additional webs that you put on your ship to help kind of track if she's coming?
It just knows, like the has heard everything being said about the crew and sort of knows how far away it is. Maybe Kekrab has like little periscope that he's got of his own type thing to see out like he's stashed himself away into the very depths of the ship.
I like this idea that she was pregnant and then had the kid, and now the kid resents you because she's the only child with a father. And this shouldn't be. It's an unholy blight on nature. Who do you think you are? Die for me and be my real dad.
Real
I'm just
daddy
going to
issues.
quietly point out to you that you're using the incorrect form. It will not be singular. If China was having a child, it would be X plural.
Yeah. Okay. Kekrab's, children, basically, across the entire airship fleet. Any sort of medium to bigger ship, tends to have a spider in there.
He's the oldest living male spider.
I love how everyone's trying to use animals as armor for the ships. You're just covering them with animals rather than easily visible. Now, so at one point, the captain gets the four of you in his office. He explains to you guys the plan that I mentioned earlier. So they're going to use the Cisco and the Open Grace as the kind of formal wall. You guys to troll the dragon out of the exits, and then when the dragon flies out, sees the ships, is forced to fly up, will then be killed. Offers you guys anything you so kind of impressed with the work that you guys have done. Wouldn't want anyone else to take on this important job. And he offers you guys each magical items for you guys to kind of sweeten the deal and also to make the job a bit easier.
Ooh.
Who wants to get theirs first?
Do we get to request, or are you handing them out?
So you can say who goes in what order, but I don't know what you're getting.
Okay, so there are set items that were being handed out, though.
I think Neely kind of gently pushes Henry forward, like they know that he's been a little bit lost since coming back to the ship.
Am I
Henry
getting
found
the
like a place to
beehive?
sleep yet?
No, beehives.
Oh,
Unless it's to do with your hair.
I can make the beehive. I can do that.
we'll talk. Henry steps forward. Captain, I will accept the first gift.
So he reaches over and he hands you a pair of metal boots, perfectly fitted and shaped for you. And he explains that using them, you can stand and walk upright along the shining beetle or any metal surface, and you can defend the ship just as you have been all your teammates.
Oh my god! Wow! And he starts putting them on straight away. He's like, "Oh, these are going to be hard to embroider, but I'll figure out a way. Thank you, sir." And he quickly salutes 3 times, and then he sits on the ground and starts putting them on.
They fit really well. The only thing, as you kind of mentioned, embroidery says, I wouldn't recommend putting anything, on the surface of them, on the bottom, because that might weaken your connection to the metal underneath, to the magnetic connection.
Half listening, he's like, and then keeps, kind of looking and twirling his feet around so he can see both sides.
Who's next?
I'll go next. What have you got for me, Captain?
Mr. Whitber? Oh, Astrakhan? Yep. So he reaches behind him and he pulls out this kind of odd-looking. It looks a bit like a bazooka, but rather than shooting one thing forward, it looks like it shoots 2 things, one to the left and one to the right. It's effectively a tripwire dispenser, so they're quite thick. It's not designed for like small traps. But if you've played Horizon Zero Dawn, you've got a very similar weapon. We can set up like a tripwire and then attach an explosive for things that are chasing after you to run into.
Cool. I'm going to use this so much. Can we find some extra ruins to go into so that I have a chance to use it?
Every farming cabin will be safe from
as soon
now
as
on.
the dragon situation. As soon as the dragon situation has been resolved, I'm sure we can find multiple opportunities. But I suspect as
testing
you
it the whole
enter
way.
the dragon's cave, and I would recommend arming it if you choose to use it in the ship. But as you are entering the dragon's cave, you may choose to set up some traps, which the dragon would then detonate on your way out as it chases after you.
Ooh.
Nice. I like it. I like it so
Mr.
much.
Whitber, would you
Thank
like to
you.
go next?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So he hands you over like a grappling gun and belt attachment. So what that lets you do is 3 times per combat, you can take the move action for free. You can reach anywhere. You can shoot up and down like levels as well. So you can, if you want to reach the roof of somewhere, you don't need to roll. You're just there as part of your move action. And it will let you, during the oncoming fight, change ships. So if you think he's too stuff, the Shining Beetle's doing well, but I can do some good over in the Hope and Grace, that you can spline across.
Ooh.
Dope.
Yeah.
That leaves
And
Neely.
for Neely, it does. Now he hands you over a cape. So what the cape does is it basically allows you not to take full damage. It acts like a short range parachute. And in recognition of your new magical abilities, if you have an ability that will deal area attack damage, if you use one of those, instead use the cape to focus it in one direction and turn it into a line instead of all around you.
Oh, I love that.
If you pay attention to the cloak, you can see that someone's unpicked the word pinky from across the back.
It has like a jagged frayed edge where
No.
someone burnt the bottom of it off.
And that's it. The ship's ready for the fight. Next week, the battle begins. We got 2 episodes of dragon fighting.
Oh shit!
Unless you guys want to do something else, we'll
I mean,
reveal the third.
is
last
there
epilogue.
another? Is there another goat race we can do just before we? No, let's do the.
I was actually thinking just before we head out, I would make the modifications to the shiny beetles that we can put a beehive in, so that if Henry does manage to convince Neely, we have a spot ready for the hive.
If they can be like little golem bees, I would be happy with that. And if we make a little matching bee suit for Mr. Miyagi.
Well, the bees would go outside the ship, not inside the ship. It would be a box on the side of the ship so that the beehive could be shut up while we were flying fast. But as soon as we were going slowly or just like stopped in one place, open it up so they could go outside, come back into the hive, and just have one of those little honey taps on the inside.
Yeah, I think
if we roll well enough, could we upgrade them to A's instead of B's?
Would they still make honey?
They make milk.
All right,
Call them boobies.
Really? Really, Lucky?
Rocks form over the top of the shining beetle as you work on this.
We would need to create a green roof so they have something to make the honey from.
I'm gonna start delivering an epilogue now.
Yeah, sounds smart.
Just fade us out. Let's talk about the bees.
Because
That's your epilogue.
there is only one epilogue because so far most of the loose threads have been tied up. But the epilogue does zoom in to the front of a large cave. There's an encampment. Oh, sorry, that was my dog making noises. Hello, Peach. There's an encampment of dragon worshipping cultists, kind of gathering in camp in front of this cave, preparing to defend their lives as the time of the hatching is very quickly approaching. They've built a large statue of a black scaled dragon and have got prisoners that they're preparing to throw into flames in sacrifice and worship. One of them, an older woman with a fresh scar from where Neely's sword went through her. She's now covered in more black scales as she's seemingly taken on more of the dragon magic. In fact, there's hardly any human skin left at all. And you hear this chant as they go, all hail, all hail. And they're looking up at the dragon statue. And that's it.
Nice. Love it.
Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you all in 2 weeks.
Pleasure. See you all.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.